Hey guys, if you clicked on this video, you're probably curious about boot camp. I went to Navy boot camp and I am going to give you some tips and some things that are very helpful to know before going into boot camp. Tip number one, make sure that you stay focused and you remember the reason why you came into boot camp. There is going to be a time when you're not with your family anymore. You're around a bunch of people that you do not know. You might even get lucky and find somebody in there that you do know, that you probably went to high school with. That's not very unlikely. If you are going into boot camp or any type of military training, just take a deep breath and relax because you are going to be okay. If I can do it, you can do it. But yeah, tip number one is definitely stay focused. Keep your eye on the prize and remember why you came in. And don't forget that there will be a lot of distractions in Navy boot camp or any type of boot camp, any type of training. So I would definitely keep your eye on the prize and stay focused. Tip number two. This goes out to all my ladies that have kinky hair or like to wear sew-ins like myself. If you are going into boot camp, before they would cut your hair, I did get a very, very, very abusive haircut when I was in Navy boot camp, and my hair was very, very, very long, and they cut it up to my eyes, and I was completely devastated. But my advice to you ladies, if you do wear sew-ins or any type of weave, don't wear it going in. Just keep your hair in a bun and you should be fine because there's going to be a lot of swimming, a lot of physical activity, and you might end up going to the pool depending on your division. Some people in your division might not be able to pass the swim test on the first try. Sometimes people take the swim test about 30 times, you know. Me, I was lucky enough to pass it on my first try, but I wasn't lucky enough to pass the shooting test on the first try. You know, I just completely failed and didn't listen to the instructions, and I had to go back the next week. So yeah, so tip number two is definitely, ladies, don't wear any type of sew-ins because there's a lot of chlorine in the water that you will be swimming in, and it can be very damaging to your hair. Tip number three. This should have been tip number one because this is very important. Okay, so in Navy boot camp, mail comes in every day, but you might not start getting mail maybe until the third week of Navy boot camp. But I would definitely, before you go in, give out your address to as many people as you can, because it's very, very important that you stay in contact with those people, because there are times where your bunkmate might get mail one day and you don't get mail for 2 weeks, and you know, you get lonely, you get really lonely. So if your family is not writing you letters, you're not going to get any letters. If your friends are not writing you letters, you're not going to get any letters. So I would definitely make sure that you give out the address of the station that you'll be at Great Lakes Boot Camp, or if you'll be at another type of boot camp, I don't know, Army Boot Camp, I believe is in Texas, I don't know. But, you know, I would definitely give out all your contact information before you go in, where you'll be at, if that's possible. Sometimes you don't know where you will be at, so when you do get your first phone call, they will give you the address. So once you give your family your contact information, that's when you'll start getting letters. And I would definitely recommend you give it to as many people as you can, because the more letters, the better you feel during that tough 8 weeks of training. You kind of need your family to lift you up. Tip number four. Definitely going into boot camp, I would definitely wear, this goes out to all my ladies, something that is not revealing, because you will look and feel like a fool. Not saying that you should care what people think about you, but you know, the way people, your first impression coming into boot camp is the way people will treat you as far as your RDC instructors, or some people call them drill sergeants. They will treat you accordingly to how you are dressed. And when you come in to boot camp, when you step in the doors, you know, during your processing, you will be changing your clothes into probably something similar to what I'm wearing. and you will have to take off your clothes in front of a lot of RDC drill sergeant instructors, and they are kind of very judgmental, not to hurt you, but definitely to break you down and build you up. And they need something to talk about and someone to point the finger at and make a fool out of, to make an example of. It's kind of a way of definitely breaking you down to build you up. So yeah, tip number 4 would be just come in wearing like maybe sweatpants and a t-shirt. No matter what you're wearing, you will be putting in a box and sending home to your family. So your family should definitely expect a stinky box with your name on it. Tip number 5. Don't come into any type of boot camp, any type of military training, thinking you know everything, because that's impossible to know everything. So be very open-minded, and because there will be a lot of dominant people, and in that world, you don't want to try to overpower them. You want to really learn something from them, because they're trying to teach you. They're being like that for a reason. You know, the atmosphere, the military atmosphere, you just have to be prepared for it. So be very open-minded, and, you know, be willing to have somebody younger than you be your boss, yell at you, just completely just disrespect you, or maybe in your view it's disrespectful, but again, it's only to build you into the person who you were meant to be, you know, that person that can conquer anything. You at your best potential. That is what the military boot camp wants you to be. You at your best potential. You know, not everybody wants to deal with a softie. You know, softies, you know, are cool sometimes, but they get walked all over. So definitely, those are some great tips, you know, if you are looking to join any type of military, you know, branch. Maybe it's Army, Navy, Marine, or Coast Guard. Go for it.